Hi there. Welcome to Apple World. So it seems to be little Kim is worn out on individuals glamorizing her undertaking with a notorious b.i.g, and she is at last uncovering probably the most insane insights concerning the undertaking when we were together. It generally transformed into a darling's fight or sweetheart's home. It just so happens. The relationship was significantly more poisonous than we knew on the grounds that it was. Simply tumultuous and plain evil more often than not. Kim's disclosures have sent the web out of control, and you all will have a hard time believing the insane things that Big Deal did to her. Did he truly threaten to unalive her? So when individuals discuss Lil Kim and the Notorious b.i.g, they for the most part discuss their time in Junior Mafia and how they used to drop here after hit. Sure, a couple of individuals discuss the way that they likewise had a close connection together. Yet and still, at the end of the day, the relationship is vigorously glamorized well as per Kim. There was such an excess of happening in the relationship that you all will have a hard time believing how poisonous it was. Yet before we get into Kim's insane disclosures, we really want to discuss that actual relationship since child. Listen, it was a hopeless train wreck all along. So Little Kim and Big Deal met in 1993 in the city of New York at a rap fight. Kim did a little freeform, and Big Deal was dazzled to the point that he quickly realized that he needed to work with her wet. Couldn't say whether he needed to get Anthony with her at that point. Yet what we can be sure of is that he was somewhat drawn to her in any case. They began cooperating, and Biggie shaped the gathering Junior Mafia and I said before they made a great deal of progress. Yet someplace down the line, Big Deal and Kim began an issue together that endured 4 years, even after he wedded his significant other, Confidence Evans, who was likewise a vocalist. Kim even went to their wedding, despite the fact that she was at that point laying down with Biggie at that point, and many individuals have consistently found this sort of ill-bred towards Confidence, who had no clue about what was happening except for the wild part prior. Pretty much this is that individuals around them certainly realized that Big Deal and Kim were sneaking around behind faceback. However, they were also faithful to Big Deal, since he was the star, so no one at any point expressed anything to Confidence. Yet, with respect to Kim, well, she imagined that they were simply work companions and nothing else. In an old meeting, she talked about the relationship, saying, "She turned into my companion, my darling, my beginning and end. I was his most die-hard follower. Realized I would be the greatest female rapper. Think I rouse him to maintain that should do various things and be various. We were a perfect pair." Definitely when she said she enlivened him to do various things, she wasn't simply discussing music alone. And with respect to Confidence, no alerts were happening for her about Kim in light of the fact that she never felt that she could be double-crossed like that. I knew nothing about them, for this is presumably basically 18 months after you realized we were together, so I knew nothing about them. I didn't actually believe anything about them to be very legitimate. Yet one thing Confidence saw was that Big Deal treated Kim way uniquely in contrast to how he treated every other person around him, and no, he wasn't showing preference, or in any event, treating her better, since Confidence uncovered that he was tremendously mean to him. In Confidence's journals, she discussed how enormous he was, frequently horrible to Kim, and he would layer at her and take steps to kill her vocation by removing her from Junior Mafia. She said, "I once heard him shouting at her at his mom's home, despite the fact that I had no clue about why you assume you exceptional. So he shouted, 'I'll go get Inga right now,' while Kim cried huge, continued to holler at her, 'We don't require you for this gathering. Inga will be glad to be down. You ain't exceptional.' He said, 'I will supplant you with the speed to remember that yet.' Inga, Big Deal was discussing, is the rapper harming Brown, and that makes this extra mean, saucy. Brown and Lil Kim had some hamburger between them. So it was horrible that Big Deal would involve her as a danger against Kim, despite the fact that they were resting together. However, this assisted them with concealing their issue from Confidence, since she felt that Big Deal loathed him a lot to lay down with her. Yet Confidence wasn't idiotic, and she soon began gathering 2 and 2 into a single unit, and she understood that the math wasn't precise. Eli frantic then, at that point, and I really do review one time with him figuring out she was at our loft, and he letting me know that is not cool yet. None that is there any good reason why it wouldn't be cool. You understand what I mean, so at any rate you know yet. When you're not searching for, in some cases when you ain't searching for stuff, you simply won't see it. You understand what I mean. I wasn't searching for that to be the situation, so I wasn't taking a gander at To whatever might understand confidence, likewise, uncovered that Kim never truly loved her and consistently had a disposition with her, despite the fact that she never comprehended the reason why she expressed that at a white party. You really approached Kim and praised her on her prosperity, and she said, "Who's that?" Definitely. I did. You believe that Kim truly didn't have any idea what your identity was? Or do you believe that was simply, concealed by then? I certainly think it was consent. I'm certain she knows basically what I resemble. Well-faced doubts were, in the long run, affirmed when she got little Kim in bed with Biggie on Christmas Eve. In her diary, she uncovered that she quickly began beating on Kim, despite the fact that she was unable to see her face since she was under the covers. I snatched a few chicks out of bed and began beating her. Sooner or later, the chick's hairpiece fell off of my hand. It was a short, edited hairpiece. I quit tossing punches briefly to get a decent gander at the chick. I was thumping. It was Lil' Kim. She was totally yet hollering as I pushed her around the room to listen to the discussion about humiliation. The wild part about this is that Kim was not contrite for her activities since she attempted to get back at confidence. Said that when I left a couple of hours after the fact to get the children, I saw that Kim had taken my key to my territory cruiser and scratched up my whole vehicle from the hood to the back guard. Yet that was not all, in light of the fact that Kim's street director guaranteed that Kim was pissed to such an extent that she once undermined confidence. Kim leaped out the vehicle and pulled a decent on trust and said, "I will blow her head off." Definitely, it seems like Kim was in a poisonous undertaking with Big Deal, and a few group have affirmed this. It likewise turns out that the relationship was really harmful in light of the fact that he was additionally seeing different ladies separated from Kim. The street chief additionally uncovered how large he would frequently put hands on Kim. On one event, Kim had gotten envious in light of the fact that Big Deal had welcomed a portion of his opposite side pieces to the studio, and she began battling them. Big Deal wasn't satisfied with this, and as per the supervisor, when Huge came, it deteriorated. He was gagging Kim in the studio lift. That was whenever I first in a real sense saw them battling. Drock was in the lift with them, attempting to split it up. I used to tell her, "Come on, you need to let this go. In some cases, a man can kill your confidence," and when he blew up at her, he would do that. Man, this is horrible. However, again, it actually wasn't sufficient to make him leave. Someplace along the line, she got pregnant with his child. She chose to dispose of it. In a new interview, she made sense of why she settled on that choice. "I definitely knew the sort of relationship that Huge Hand I had, and I knew that having a kid was something that couldn't occur." She realized that it was poisonous, yet she actually remained despite the fact that things got worse. Truth be told, they deteriorated, and Jermaine Dupri even uncovered how Huge he threatened to use a firearm on Kim after she defied him for laying down with her cousin and Lil' Kim at this specific moment. This was when large, "I'm believing he's Kim's sister, right? This is in the music, okay, in the music. And she learned about it, so she was disturbed when she came to the studio about this, and large haul up lash out on her camp. Yes, and to lay the refrain, or simply let her in on, "Wow, gracious, okay." So he felt like he could end her life, assuming she defied him. That is insane, and Jermaine Dupri wasn't Cabanita on the grounds that Kim additionally affirmed it in a new meeting. Kim, at last, focused on her poisonous and fierce relationship with Big Deal. And you all, it's a wreck. I don't see it's not amiss with him recounting to the story. It's a piece of history, so you recall that day. Obviously I recall that day. It worked out. And I mean, the story isn't precisely the way in which he said it yet. It's exceptionally not our reality, and you realize, we had an extremely rough relationship. I'm similar to, I don't realize I disdain that yet. Like, for some time that resembled all I pulled in was like we were together. It generally transformed into a sweetheart's fight, or on the other hand, 11th home. So you all need to realize the most terrible part pretty much this is that she put Big Deal's viciousness on him being a Gemini. Since he's a Gemini, it should be obvious that Gemini and I figured out how to truly manage Geminis. They truly are two individuals, and they're great individuals as well, yet when they transform into